Hey there everyone, welcome back. We're here doing the lessons of A Course in Miracles, and today we're doing lesson number 347, Anger Must Come from Judgment. Judgment is the weapon I would use against myself to keep the miracle away from me. Anger must come from judgment. Judgment is the weapon I would use against myself to keep the miracle away from me. It's a wordy one, it's big. Before I roll into this, I just want to say that yesterday I ended up taking care of what needed to be taken care of, and it felt great. I wasn't too bitchy until last night. I wanted to eat healthy because we've been in New Orleans and kind of like not paying attention to like dietary responsibility. And I found this restaurant. It's kind of like a healthy chain, but went there and had such a small portion of food. It irritated me because I was still hungry and it was expensive. And so we left there and came back to the RV campground and literally ate another meal, which was, I don't know. Anyway, so I started having a headache last night. It still persisted into the morning. I still kind of barely have it right now. But so anyway, the idea from yesterday, today the peace of God envelops me and I forget all things except his love. It's like I was setting myself up to be disturbed and suffer by these other things except for God's love. And certainly when I was like going through my little moments last night, I wasn't reflecting on the lesson. So but yesterday, another great thing that happened, I got to catch up with my good friend Terry, who is on this channel and comments from time to time, and I'm so glad I got to catch up with you. I love you, Terry. So this morning, she sent me a recommendation to accompany the lesson we're about to do from the text, chapter 30, The New Beginning. There is a section on rules for decision, and I love these themes and ideas because I think it really simplifies what's going on in your mind. So had I had this information last night when I started to go into my little tailspin around, not being satisfied with my healthy meal because I was trying to make a good decision, and then having to go eat a second time and having a headache, all the things that were kind of like meh about my night, I could have reflected on some of these themes. So I won't go deeply into this, but refer to your text. I'm using this particular book. It's the Foundation for Inner Peace version of the Course in Miracles, but I'm sure the text is very similar, if not the same, in the other versions. So chapter 30, The New Beginning, it talks about just making decisions. It's rules for decisions. Decisions are continuous. You don't always know when you're making them. So a couple things I want to pull out for you in this is thoughts that you can tell yourself. Today, I will make no decisions by myself. So in other words, you're always deciding along with either the Holy Spirit's thought system or the ego's thought system. 50-50 chance that you're going one way or the other, right? So always know that we're never like separate from any of that. It's never as complicated as we think, and it's usually such an unconscious quick move that it may be hard to sense which direction you're going in any given moment. But after usually reflecting back, hindsight is 20/20, you kind of know which way you went. So you start thinking about when you want to make a decision, it's almost like you've already made up your mind, and then when the outcome starts to turn out a way that you didn't envision, then that causes anger. And so our lesson today says anger must come from judgment. So this does all kind of fit together, I believe. And thank you again, Terry. So if I make no decisions by myself, this is the day that will be given me. So what we're encouraged to do here is to kind of run through here and say, I have no question, I forgot what to decide. So this is when you just get yourself really quiet and think about the kind of day that you want to have. So as much as you think you want a specific question answered, if you've already made up your mind about the answer, but you're going to ask the question anyway, it's kind of like a futile engagement with the spirit world there. So if you just think about the kind of day you want to have, like I want to have a day of happiness and ease and peace and joy and grace, or maybe even something a little more specific, but it talks about your feelings that you want, rather than an outcome that you want. And then you kind of move forward into this chapter 30 section, and you think to yourself, I want another way to look at this. So you're thinking about the kind of day that you want, and if that thing pops up in your mind that you have a question about and you feel like you don't really know how to decide, I want another way to look at this. Perhaps there's another way to look at this. What can I lose by asking? So it really opens up your mind and softens your judgment. It's like this almost like a weapon that we have, this quick movement to judgment. If you open it up to, this is the kind of day I want to have, and regarding this question that I may have, maybe there's another way for me to see this and understand it. I think that can help you out in as like a technique. So anyway, it's quite a reading, but I would definitely suggest going into the text today and reading this, because I think it will help if you do come up against something. If you have a situation like me, which, none of this is like super terrible, which is interesting because the course applies to even the smallest little nitnoid details, not necessarily like big transformational life-changing things. So, all right, here we go. We're 6.5 minutes in here. Lesson 347, anger must come from judgment. Judgment is the weapon I would use against myself to keep the miracle away from me. Father, I want what goes against my will, and do not want what is my will to have. Straighten my mind, my Father. It is sick, but you have offered freedom, and I choose to claim your gift today. And so I give all judgment to the one you gave to me to judge for me. He sees what I behold, and yet he knows the truth. He looks on pain, and yet he understands it is not real, and in his understanding it is healed. He gives the miracles my dreams would hide from my awareness. Let him judge today instead of me. I do not know my will, but he is sure it is your own, and he will speak for me and call your miracles to come to me. Listen today, be very still, and hear the gentle voice for God assuring you that he has judged you as the son he loves. Okay, so very beautiful reminder. Be very still and hear the gentle voice for God. And when the little things come up in your mind, tell yourself, I know that I'm not making decisions by myself. Which way am I going? Am I predicting an outcome? What are the feelings I'd like to have for this day? And is there another way that I can look at this? And then get yourself still and wait. The quickness that we judge, it almost feels like it just completely takes over and that we're powerless to it. And I frankly am disappointed in myself at times when I see it happen so quickly, but it's like that's just how powerful and how wired we are to go along with the ego, and how unnoticeable it is when we choose to do that. Okay, so let's see what A Year of Forgiveness has to say about 347. Anger must come from judgment. Judgment is the weapon I use against myself to keep the miracle away from me. How sad. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one you know as Jesus. You do not think that anger comes from judgment. You think that anger comes from knowing. You think that you know what is right and know what should happen. Therefore, when it doesn't happen, you get angry. This is a fundamental flaw in your thinking processes. This lesson teaches you that your judgments against the world, about other people, and against other people are the very things that cause your suffering. They are the very things you do unconsciously to keep separation alive. This is why judgment is so hard to give up, because unconsciously you want it. Oh, it's hard to hear, right? Unconsciously, the ego mind knows that as long as you are judgmental and not in a state of unconditional acceptance, you keep the separation mentality alive. The ego keeps the separation mentality alive because, to the ego, it is safe. Separation from God for the ego means safety, because the ego fears God. This is a very fundamental teaching of A Course in Miracles. Unconsciously, you fear salvation. You fear God. And you do everything you can to keep separation alive, knowing that it keeps you from God. Stepping back from judgment is acknowledging that you understand how the separation is maintained and that you choose not to maintain it anymore. So this is that step that we're taking with using the text chapter 30 and this lesson today. Use your free will, understanding that you have come through your studies of A Course in Miracles. Use your free will, understanding that you have come through your studies of A Course in Miracles. I am that one you know as Jesus, and we will speak to you again tomorrow. So, this cute little graphic in here that I love, we'll share that today. God is love. It says here, judge God, who's only judging us as we are his son or his daughter, if you like. One last thing that I would like to say is that a friend here on the page, also Tom Jenkins, he sent me this book, Journey Beyond Words, and it is a companion workbook to the Course in Miracles. I've just started reading it. It is written by this man, Brent Haskell, who channeled Jesus, and this book is beautiful. It's sort of written in this like prose kind of a way. It's easy, it's conversational, but it's very direct. And it reminds me when I was reading it of how the thoughts that come to mind when I'm reading the lesson. So it's really practical, but also very loving, beautiful, big brotherly. So I just wanted to recommend this book too and say thank you so much, Tom. I'm really enjoying reading this. And yeah, like I said, I've just started, but it's beautiful. It reinforces everything. And for us right now, at the times of these crazy energies and eclipses and all the stuff that's going on, we need as much support as we can. So always refer to the text. If you find a companion book, like, A Year of Forgiveness is also, channeled because of the Course. So there's so many sources out there. If you feel like you're just not getting your itch scratched by what I'm doing or by what's in the original Course in Miracles, there's so much out there. And we're coming up against this resistance because we're not going along with what society has trained us to do. So one of the things that it does say in this chapter 30 here, the new beginning, is, and if you find resistance strong and dedication weak to this new practice on making decisions, you are not ready. Do not fight yourself, but think about the kind of day you want and tell yourself there is a way in which this very day can happen just like that. Then try again to have the day you want. So it's constantly reminding us in this sweet, beautiful way that it's okay to not flawlessly execute every single lesson and make it perfect. Like, we are retraining our minds, and it's not easy, and it feels like we're kind of alone because many of us aren't in a family of Course in Miracles students or in a workplace filled with Course in Miracles students or what have you. So it's kind of our design to make this challenge, but man, the rewards are amazing as we continue to go through this. I know that even still having the upsets that I have and the mind chatter that's still there, it's a million times less than it was. And the progress that I've made, I can see and feel, and I'm extremely proud of it. So I'm so glad to share all this with you. This one went a little long today, but I think it's all good information. It's worth it. And I want you to use the book to the maximum ability that you can. If the Course, or if the lessons of the Course are, like I said, not scratching the itch, then go to the text. Go back to the manual for teachers. That's all the way in the back of the book. There's so much more there. And find whatever you need to connect it in to your consciousness to really get you living the lessons. I think that's what this is all about, for me at least. So thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow.